Raygun is coming to Madison. Raygun is a Midwest-based unionized design and print shop with retail locations in cities across our region, and now Madison. They're opening on State Street this September at the former Paul's Bookstore location. Raygun is proud to support public media, public schools, public lands, and public restrooms. Shop and sign up for their newsletter at raygunsite.com and follow at Raygun Shirts everywhere for new product releases, plus grand opening information for their new location at 670 State Street in Madison. You're invited to Bike the Barns, a one-of-a-kind food and farming adventure taking place on Sunday, September 21st in the Madison area. Hosted by Fair Share CSA Coalition, this fundraising bike ride supports local farmers and fresh food access. With fresh farm foods and drinks, live tunes, and farm tours at each stop, plus all skill levels are welcome because it's a ride, not a race. Spots fill up quickly, so register today at csacoalition.org and pedal together for fresh food for everyone. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, we're digging into what's behind a particular set of high-frequency celebrations happening in our hamlet from the, quote, coolest station in the nation. One of our beloved local community radio stations, WVMO, the voice of Monona, is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. WVMO 98.7 FM broadcasts to Monona and parts of the east side of Madison most days, and on good days solidly further into the Madison burbs, and they live stream to thousands of listeners weekly. This unique gem in our ecosystem of community-supported media is an exemplary space for localism. So joining me today to talk about this and celebrate this community good is one of the first guests I interviewed on CityCast Madison ever, Stacey Harba, aka DJ Shotsky, WVMO host of the show Polka Time and a rotating host on the WVMO show, which airs at noon. Stacey, welcome back.
Bianca, thanks for having me. This is great.
This is so great. I'm so happy to see you, and I'm so happy about these celebrations. Firstly, congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, happy anniversary to WVMO. It is hyper-local radio and just a delight of a place to volunteer, and what a resource for our local community, for news, for entertainment. It's a gem.
It is such a gem. And y'all just hosted a massive party at the Monona landmark, San Damiano Park. And from what I hear, it was a total smash.
It was a smash. Someone estimated there were like 1,500 people there. I'm not good at counting heads, but the crowd was much larger than anyone had anticipated. I mean, we really hyped it. We asked all of our friends and family to come, and people really did. They sold out of beer. They had to get more beer. They sold out of that beer. They sold out of brats. Some of the food carts sold out. Like, I think no one was prepared for the crowd. But really what we got from that event, not only was a great performance by the band Wheelhouse, they were the first local band that we played on WVMO when we started, but then also just the good vibes. Like, I had so many great conversations with people who love this station, people who listen to my show, people who listen to all the shows, just people who love this resource. And we just all came away feeling so good about our volunteerism and what this station means to the community.
Yeah, those frequencies were definitely felt across Lake Monona to all parts of the city of Madison. And you also had a hit event at the Harmony Bar and Grill, and you've got an upcoming event at a concert at Atwood Hall tomorrow night. So there's so many celebrations to be had. And, I'm going to ask you more specifically about that San Damiano smash because that sounds incredible. But first, WVMO herself needs more of an introduction. The station is a small but mighty force of nature, a low-power station that just happens to, rake in so many awards each year, including last year the honor of Station of the Year from the State Broadcasting Awards, which I'm pretty sure you guys have gotten that title before. Stacey, what is WVMO, and what is the magic sauce that's happening over there?
Well, the magic sauce is really that this is a resource for the city of Monona. The city of Monona holds the FCC license, and we are a part of the community media department of the city. And so, the community members support it, but also we know that we can turn to WVMO to get news announcements, what's going on at the senior center, what's going on at the library, what's happening in the schools. You can hear the football games on that station. Like, it's so local, and it reminds us of what like true local radio used to be. And we're keeping that same kind of spirit alive, in addition to really fun music.
What is the station programming like? You obviously have your own show. You're the host of Polka Time, which is a true Wisconsin banger. But briefly, what are the current popular shows on WVMO? What's the programming like?
Well, from the beginning, WVMO has always been an Americana music station. So Americana is, it's folk, it's bluegrass, it's classic rock, it's singer-songwriters. You'll hear a lot of that kind of music on the station. But then also, in addition to the music that normally plays during the day, volunteers come in, very committed volunteers, and they have their own radio programs. And so you're going to hear, a whole gamut of things, from oldies to funk to a lot of indie rock to jazz. And of course, I play polka, which is fun. That's the state dance. I like to keep that music going. Classic country. Like, you're going to hear a much broader mix, particularly on the evenings and weekends when the volunteers have their turn. And they're just really bringing their passion for music, a whole spectrum of music, to the airwaves.
Yeah, and you got a cast of characters over there and fun to follow for sure, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Well, so it is an anniversary. So how did VMO get started?
Well, the story really started back in like 2007. There was news that the FCC was going to be releasing more low power station licenses. And the FCC doesn't give out licenses for radio often. It's kind of a complex process. But when local radio folks heard about that, including radio veteran Lindsay Wood Davis, heard about that, he called his friend Paul Meyer, and they had a chat about what would it be like if the city of Monona got one of those low power licenses. And a really cute part of that story is that Paul Meyer realized that Monona could have a low power radio station because he was flipping around on the channel one day, as radio people tend to do, just looking around to see what's out there. What can you pick up? And he was in the parking lot of Walgreens on Monona Drive, and he picked up a signal that he hadn't heard before. And what it was the high school's announcements, like the PA announcements, and they were being broadcast through the wires. Like, it's called a common carrier station, but it's like how they broadcast their local announcements. And Paul was like, we're not supposed to be hearing that this far out, but what we really do need is a radio station, right? So that was the kernel of it.
That's a good center for it to started there at Monona Grove.
It is. So the process started in 2007, but it took about 6 years for everything to come together, from applying for the license, building support among the city. The alders were all in on this. They loved the idea. And then the original funding came from these like cable access fees. Users for cable TV pay these fees, and the city had a stockpile of funds from these fees that were just looking for a good use. And so all
Cable,
of these
what's
things.
that?
Cable, what's that? Well, that's, it does seem a little old fashioned, but people still have cable and they're still paying those fees, and it's still funding the station. Not as much as it used to, but with those stars lining up and some really committed radio folks, that's how things got started. And then the first broadcast was in August of 2015.
Well, it's definitely fascinating. I am a listener, and I want to highlight, like you said, you all are in a fairly unique position that the city is part of making this happen. So it is curious, like, why would the city want to get into this business?
Well, I think that the city understands that it is a wonderful resource for community announcements. That's a really big part of it, is highlighting what's going well in the city. Where are the resources? What is the latest information? And from a day-to-day basis, it can be a lot of fun to know what's going on at the library, at the senior center, at Aldo Leopold Nature Center. Like, it's good to be informed on what's going on in your neighborhood. But then when things get really serious, right? If there's severe weather, if there's floods, if there's emergency responses that need to be, broadcast out, the city station is there for our local people to give instructions, to explain, how to get around flooded areas or how to deal with emergencies. So it really is an asset, not just for the entertainment factor, but to keep the community informed. And in a time when media is changing so much, we're really concerned about funding for public radio. There's this very vertical integration of media outlets where one company might be buying up a ton of radio stations. It's really hard to find that super local resource. And so it's a great thing for the city to have that to get the message out to the local people.
Yeah, and it's so local, and it's voices from across generations. I love hearing, and I know it's these are your neighbors who are on the radio. And, you talked about the origin story and just what it takes to put the station on. You guys have a lot of volunteers. Your volunteers are really important to what you guys get done. Can you talk about the sort of community aspect and just as much as y'all are doing the work, the community is a part of the station?
Absolutely. And, I love community radio in general. I love to listen to streaming stations from all over the country. It's really fun. But, there's some syndicated content and some other radio stations and so forth. But we don't have that at WVMO. Everybody who's on that station lives here, and we're all in this community together. And this radio station has attracted radio talent that is really incredible. We've got one of our most senior radio hosts is Rod Perry. He's got a big band show on, and he's been in radio for decades and decades. Bruce Rave has a indie rock show. He's been in radio for a long time. Buzz Kemper, if you hear his voice, you'll know who Buzz Kemper is because he comes on and he sounds like such a radio pro. But then on the other end of the spectrum, it's a great place for people to get involved and to try radio in a way that it's professional. We have great equipment, but also it's good for beginners. So we've got youth who come in and record announcements. We've got high schoolers who have radio shows. And so, it's a whole spectrum of folks who are welcome to try out radio and see what they think.
Yeah, I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing, you mentioned him already, Lindsay Wood Davis, who is a Hall of Famer, broadcast Hall of Famer, who was one of the founders. And then also a girl named Bee. She had a show called Bee's Buzz. She's actually the daughter of a different WVMO host, Scott Pauley. I just want to shout the show, The Seagull, with Kevin and Scott on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Somehow I always hear them. I always catch them for some reason. I don't know if it's when I'm going to Woodman's. But one of the most gorgeous things is that you guys have families, different generations holding it up. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it was started in 2007, so it's not that long, but 10 years, it's still got this sort of sense of place and rootedness across the generations, I guess I'll say.
Totally. I'd love to give a little shout out to Eliza Martin. Speaking of youth, Eliza Martin, her father is Joe Martin, who's very involved in the station. He works for the city in the community media department. So he really keeps all the plates spinning at the radio show. But he welcomed his daughter, Eliza, in. She's 18. She's going off to college, but she's had a show on WVMO called Teenage Dream. And her whole show is about the music she is discovering. She is going through her dad's music collection, her parents' music collection, and she's discovering all of this music for the first time as a teenager. So she'll come on the radio and she'll be like, listen to this great song I discovered. It's by David Bowie. Or, this Bruce Springsteen song. She's really excited about it. But, it's songs that people my age probably overheard and was overplayed on the radio when we were young. But to hear her experience that music for the first time as an 18-year-old and younger, it's just this joy of music discovery. Now, Eliza is going to be doing her last show on Tuesday, September 2nd in the evening, and she's going to college, and so we're going to miss her, but I really hope that she'll be able to come back to WVMO and volunteer again in the future or in the summertime, because her show is just so much fun to listen to her discover this music. So that's the kind of thing that makes WVMO so different than the corporate radio stations that are out there.
Hey, animal lovers! Your favorite team needs you to cheer them on at Bark and Wine Tailgate on Saturday, September 27th at Dane County Humane Society. From 3 to 6 p.m., join in the tailgate spirit with delicious food, refreshing drinks, tail-wagging games, a silent auction, and plenty of furry fun for a great cause. Plus, you'll get to meet some amazing animal greeters who will make the day unforgettable. Want more? Grab VIP pregame tickets to enjoy early access and other special perks. Can't wait for the event? The Donate to Vote Showdown is on. Every dollar you donate to cheer for your favorite animal team, cat, dog, wildlife, or critter, counts as one vote to crown this year's champion. Plus, your donation supports animals in our community. Last year, Team Cat clawed their way to the top, but who will win this tailgate rematch? That's up to you. Get your tickets today and start casting your votes now at giveshelter.org/BW. Remember that amazing little cafe you discovered last summer with the perfect latte and crazy view? Or that sweet hiking spot your friend told you about, but you can't remember the name? With Overlook Maps, special places never get lost again. Create personal lists of places you've been and want to go. Build your must-visit list for your next vacation, your foodie favorites for date nights, or your weekend getaways when you need to escape. Share your favorite hidden gems with friends and family. Let them discover that incredible barbecue joint you found, or that scenic overlook that takes your breath away. Or keep your secret spots completely private. Planning a trip with friends? Create a shared list where everyone can add their ideas. Visiting a new city? Check out lists from locals who know the real gems, not just the tourist traps. And here's the best part. No ads cluttering your lists. No one selling your data to advertisers. Just your personal collection of amazing places organized exactly how you want them. Overlook Maps, collect, organize, and share the places that matter to you. Download free at overlookmaps.com and check out overlookmaps.com/Madison to see some of our lists and great spots on a map and in your pocket. Your places, your way. I'm sure you're in a pretty reflective space doing the 10-year anniversary and thinking about everything that's been accomplished by the station, including, thinking about the founding and it being such a special story to make something happen. It took years to do, right? It made me think of the Margaret Mead quote, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is actually the only thing that ever has. So the impact is clear. The San Damiano event, hearing that 1,500 people probably showed up, that is really, really special. And, it shows the kind of commitment and loyalty y'all have built. I understand that event at San Damiano has also had a dual purpose of sending off the founder, Lindsay Wood Davis, for real this time. He was giving his swan song with love. I do want to play a moment from my conversation with him on the podcast 2 years ago.
It is not just local, it is hyper local. We love to talk. Our IDs are from people in Monona and Madison's East Side, and they say their name and they say the street that they live on. We have little kids' voices on the air. It's very, very local. We're talking about things that happen at the farmers market and at San Damiano, and that they're going to repebble a street. All this very, very local stuff. To me, that is the future of radio that's going to remain successful.
A salute to you, Lindsay, a true radio river rat you are. While Lindsay's been retired, he's, truly passing the torch now. But when we're looking to the future of the station, there are all kinds of threats to community media right now. I mean, in terms of support, the federal level, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, they would give out millions of dollars worth of grants each year, and that's shuttered. How are y'all doing over at WVMO, and what's your status?
Well, WVMO, we're lucky to be a city station. So our funding comes from the taxpayers through the community media department and through those cable access fees. So I don't know if more people who might be cutting the cord for cable. That is a trend that's happening. So those cable fees are going down. So that's one place where funding support for our station is on the decline. But fortunately, the radio station has a group that supports the station called the Friends of WVMO. I serve on the board, and we can do fundraising and marketing and engagement in the community. We've always had underwriters at the radio station, but we're formalizing that program so more businesses can do underwriting and support the station that way. One of our biggest supporters is the Stoughton Opera House. We've had a longstanding partnership with them. I know, that amazing facility. And even though they're out in Stoughton, they know that WVMO listeners are their target audience. They know that these are passionate people about music. We love music. So we've had a partnership with them for a really long time to inform people about what's coming on stage at the Stoughton Opera House. So there are other ways that people can support this radio station, not just through taxpayer dollars. So I think that the more that people listen and the more people stream this radio station and explore the program schedule, I think the more that people will find that it's of value, especially since it's such a good resource for our community.
Absolutely. And there's nothing better to do than support local.
Absolutely.
You know, it's the people that you love. It's your neighbors. It's the people that you're sharing streets with. And, you know, it's such an important service. And I wanted to ask you, you dedicate a lot of time to WVMO. You really clearly care. What draws you in? Like, you're great at pitching the station, but like on a personal note, like what does WVMO mean to you?
Well, on a personal note, you know, I'm really passionate about polka music. I love playing this music for people. It's got such an old-fashioned sound and it's family friendly. It's like a creative outlet for me that I get to put together a program of music and share it with people. The radio station itself is just this little corner of zen. Like, it's so like clean and quiet and pretty, and I get to go in and push the buttons and make the records play. And that to me is a relaxing touch point every week that I get to go in and do that. But even more than that, it's the connection with people that I meet, not just in Monona, but all over the state, where people listen to this radio show, whether they tune in or they stream it, and they tell me about how important this music is to them. You know, this music is the music that was played at their cousin's wedding or their grandma's, kitchen when they were growing up, or like at the cabin when they traveled up north for the summers. And so when I get to hear that people are listening to this and it's creating good memories and good feelings, and they're teaching their kids about this music, and it's a part of this tradition of the state, it's just one little slice of that Americana music, but it's that connection with listeners that I don't always expect when I go into the studio and I'm just behind a microphone and playing records. It's the impact goes so much farther than the radio station, than Monona. Like, we're reaching more and more people, and it's exciting to be able to deliver that kind of human connection through music, in addition to, the news of the community. So it just feels really good to do it. It feels good to listen, and it feels good to play the music and to be a part of something that's growing and fun, and it's a community good.
Yeah, and knowing that there are all of these folks tuning in and they're writing you, having the personal response. Like, having you curating this music is quite a gift. And I think in today's age where, the Spotifys of the world are killing the DJ radio star, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fan of that Spotify DJ radio voice. This is a personal connection that you're bringing. And I think that's important to be said.
And that's a whole other conversation. Have me back. We'll have a little panel to talk about how to quit Spotify. And I would love to talk to you about discovering music through community radio. The more I listen, the more radio stations I start to tune into, the more I get really excited about what's out there. So you don't need an app to feed you music. There are volunteers right now who are producing amazing music programs that will blow your mind and that will introduce you to music you've never heard before, that you've never would think you'd like. But you listen to the radio and a DJ is like, here, check this out. That human being serves you something. Try this. And music discovery is really fun. That's just a little side note.
It is so fun. And also, if you have younger kiddos in your life, tune into Eliza Martin's show. Well, she's discovering David Bowie and Bruce Springsteen. And, from all the way up, there's all different spaces to engage with a person that has that joy and insight and depth of knowledge. And it's an important resource. So, Stacey, looking into the crystal ball, we did 10 years. I'm saying we because I listen.
Yeah, you're part of it.
We, y'all, the community, WVMO. Obviously, there's going to be another 10 years looking into the future, assuming the station is fully funded and folks are contributing and being a part of it. What do you want to see happen at WVMO in the next decade?
Honestly, I think it would be so fun if we could expand, right? So we have one studio. So that means there's like one table, there's one board, there's one computer, right? And in an ideal world, we'd have more places to record talk shows, record music. We say we're the coolest little station in the nation because it's just the one little studio. So if we had more space, if we had more staff, then we could do more things. We could welcome more volunteers and more people could have that experience of radio. And we look at other radio stations around the country that are independent stations that are maybe a little bit more established or a little older. One of my favorite radio stations is WDRT in Viroqua, Wisconsin. Love that station. I've discovered great music through there. I have favorite shows, but they have a really awesome community model where their space is open for music recording for events. They've got multiple studios where people can come in and record their own podcasts or whatnot, whether or not it gets actually aired on the radio. You know, we could look to those sort of like community media models that are very expansive and welcoming. That would be awesome. But it takes staff, that takes money, it takes space, you know, so that could be a growth opportunity in the future. But for right now, we're really happy with being supported by the city of Monona and, you know, welcoming the volunteers that we have and how we're so connected to, you know, the local schools and all of that. We've got plenty to do with with the resources we have right now. But that would be a really cool path to be at 10 years from now.
Yeah, you're crushing it. So just imagine what is possible. Yeah.
Oh, we're imagining, but let's just fundraise for what we have right now.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Stacey, and long live WVMO.
Been so fun. Thank you, Bianca.
That was Stacey Harbaugh, aka DJ Shotsky, WVMO host of the show Polka Time and a rotating host on the WVMO show, which airs at noon. That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. Don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. And if you enjoyed today's episode, why not share the show with someone who loves quality local programming? Someone like you listening right now. All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until next time, take good care and support local.